Well, I didn't have any clean United States of Analog t-shirts today, so I threw on my messy t-shirt. He is the GOAT. I hope you could see that. Pretty cool Adidas shirt that my wife got for me. Yeah, he's the GOAT in soccer, in professional soccer. But we're also going to talk about another GOAT today. That's right, the greatest of all time. Hi, I'm Bob, and you're in the United States of Analog. The greatest meter of all time. Is it the multimeter? Nah, no shot. Not even close. Is it the parking meter? Perhaps the worst meter of all time. No way. No way that's going to get the GOAT. The greatest of all time is the VU meter. And we as audiophiles, for some insane reason, love the VU meter. We seek it out. We stare at it as we're listening to our music. We're crazy. We're nuts. We're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs over the VU meter. And today we're going to explore the VU meter. We're going to talk about what it is, what it does, and the 3 or 4 maybe reasons why we love them. All right, we're going to do all that and more, and there's going to be a special bonus for you, a little gift from me to you at the very end of the video. I'm so tempted to tell you about it now, but I'm going to wait because the longer you watch, the better my retention rates, and maybe I'll make more than $15 on YouTube this month. Though I'm not in it for the cash, all right? I have a day job. I'm just having some fun here. And we're going to have fun with VU meters because a few days ago I posted a video, an overview, not really a full review, but an overview of an amplifier that I own, and I really do own it. To the person that wrote in the comments, he thought I was being paid to advertise it because I wasn't holding a 30-pound amplifier in my hand as I was talking. Anyway, I can assure you that I own it. It's upstairs. The SUG 700 from TIMEX. You know, comments on YouTube are kind of funny, and I feel like I have a thick skin. I've been on morning radio for like 32 years now, so I've had all kinds of comments over the years and criticisms. So I feel like I have a thick skin, but there's one that kind of got to me on the TIMEX amplifier, and that was a guy that wrote to me and goes, "Yeah, nice amp, $3,000. I bought a $300 amp and a $100 DAC. That means you paid $2,400 for the VU meters." And I'm thinking to myself, he's pretty good at math. He got the number right, but I don't know. I don't look at it that way. I look at the whole package. I'm sure there's a lot more quality in my TIMEX amp than there is in his, well, it's a good comp. I have Emotiva amps upstairs, but he got a Bass X $300 amp, and they're really cool. And maybe it sounds better than the TIMEX. I don't know. I'm not going to A-B those, but I've got XPA1Ls upstairs, the A-B monoblocks that I use for home theater. So I'm accustomed to and used to Emotiva, and I love them. So no shade being thrown there, but I just thought it was an interesting comment. The guy was trying to one-up me. Hey man, audio's supposed to be fun, right? I mean, why can't we all get along like circus people? Why do we have to compete? Let's not compete. We are the world, baby. You know what I'm saying? We are the world. Listen, let's get into the layman's definition of what a VU meter is. I have it right here on my official United States of Analog stationery. So a VU meter is a volume unit meter, or standard volume indicator, SVI, a device displaying a representation of the signal level in audio equipment. The original design was proposed in 1940, a new standard volume indicator and reference level written by experts from CBS, NBC, and Bell Telephone Laboratories. The Acoustical Society of America then standardized it in 1942 for use in telephone installations and radio broadcast stations. It goes on further to say consumer audio equipment, I'll add expensive consumer audio equipment, often features VU meters both for utility purposes in recording and for aesthetics in playback. Now, 1940 is the year that gave us the VU meter. But a couple weeks ago, I was watching 1931's Frankenstein. It was on one of those late night Friday horror show things that they do. Yeah, and I thought in the background of Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory, I saw some VU meters. Maybe it was just my imagination. Tried blowing it up. I don't know. Maybe it's an optical illusion or it's something else, or maybe I just photoshopped it for fun. You be the judge. Let me know in the comments below. Okay, let's talk about what they're for. Again, in recording and broadcast, which I have some experience in, yes, they do serve a purpose. They help you set the appropriate levels. But in audio equipment, not so sure we're getting much data. In fact, especially in the case of some of those LED screens like in, well, I don't want to say the name, some British component makers, some British manufacturers, you know, they have the screens with the, let's call them artificial intelligence, AI meters going on. I don't even know if they're an accurate representation of anything that's going on inside the amplifier, but maybe they are. I'm not trying to be judgmental here. I'm just saying I'm not sure any of us are getting much from the VU meter. And why do we love them? Well, I think there are three reasons. The first reason I call proof of life. You know, components, especially amplifiers, are pretty static looking. Sometimes there's a LED power indicator, a red LED. Sometimes there's more LEDs on the faceplate. But for the most part, it's hard to tell if anything's going on inside. You got those VU meters dancing. Now you're telling a story. Now you're positive. It's positive affirmation that something is happening inside that black box. Reason number two, it's something to do. It's something to watch. In the old days, we used to look at our album covers. Well, vinyl's back in a big way. I guess we have album covers to look at again. You know, these days, you've got to have something to look at. But now that I think about it, I don't know what's kind of more unusual. Just staring at a blank wall while you're listening to music, or watching little needles dance behind little plates of glass. I don't know. I don't know. I'll leave that up to you to decide. But for me, I like watching VU meters. And number three, and I don't know how to phrase this because I'm a complete idiot, but they suggest some kind of upscaleness. I don't even think that's a word. I don't think it's important here on YouTube because I hear people making up words all the time. It suggests a certain upscaleness, all right? A certain richness, a certain level of quality, as if to say, I'm an amplifier. I have VU meters. I'm better than the amplifier that doesn't have VU meters. Now, we know that that can't possibly be true. There are plenty of outstanding, magnificent amplifiers that don't have VU meters. But this is the implication, that you've bought something of quality, something that maybe is more technical, more refined. And sometimes it's just to give a piece of equipment a vintage look. But I think for those of us that like VU meters, we take a certain pride in those components that have them. And I think deep down in the back of our minds, we believe that we've got something special. Now, there's another form of VU meter we haven't talked about yet, and that's this thing that a lot of equipment in the 70s had. This is kind of a facsimile of that. Remember these? Remember meters like this? They usually weren't multicolored. They usually just had red LEDs. But a lot of the components I had in the 80s, cassette decks, amplifiers, even maybe some tuners, would have kind of that kind of LED VU action. And that, you're definitely not getting any data from that, except when it hits the red. Like, well, I don't know. Now, there's some ways you can add VU meters to your system if that's your inclination. Now, back in the good old days of audio, before we called ourselves audiophiles, in the 70s, we had places called Radio Shack where we could go and get RCA cables and speaker wire. And they would sell a little box, I don't know, probably way under $100, that had a couple of VU meters in it, and you could plug it in to your receiver, your audio receiver, and have a good time and pretend that you had made some improvement to your system. You really didn't, but at least you had that feeling, you know, that you had done something good. Now you can add, like I have over there in the corner, a Douk audio one little bear, which is, again, a device with two yellow VU meters. Is a little more functional, has a little more purpose because you can plug in a couple amplifiers and plug in a couple of speakers, a couple sets of speakers, and switch them from that box. And the VU meters are kind of a bonus. You don't need VU meters in a switcher by any stretch of the imagination, but they're there, and I like them. That's why I bought it. So VU meters, what do you think? Do you like them? Do you want them? Or can you do without them? You can put your comments below. Tell me if you've got a cool piece of gear that has VU meters. Yamaha's got some cool stuff too. Oh yeah, I didn't mention, speaking of Yamaha, I will give you 3 examples of pretty good implementations. First is the Technics SUR1000 reference amplifier, the big brother to my SUG700. We've got the Luxman L5072. This is a beautiful piece of kit that I could look at for hours on end. And then the 180-pound Macintosh MC901 monoblock. That's right, I said 180 pounds each. 3 great implementations of VU meters in modern equipment. And right now, as promised, my free gift to you. From the United States of Analog to you, I would like to gift you 10 minutes of hot, super hot VU meter action. And why am I giving you this for free? Well, 2 reasons. The first reason is so that you can sample VU meters for yourself if you don't have any in your equipment. You can put this on your phone while you're listening to Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms, as example, and get that good time feeling of VU meters. You might like it. Put it on your TV while you're streaming. I don't know how you would do that, but you could try. And the second reason I'm giving this to you is to help with my retention level, which I mentioned earlier on, all right? Maybe you'll actually put it on for 10 minutes and I'll get credit for that. So that's it. I'm Bob. You've been in the United States of Analog. Please enjoy your 10 minutes of hot VU meter action.